Hi, my name is ERIK Marsh, and I recently changed my major from nursing to law because I had a class that I really liked in high school. It was a law class, and I could really see myself doing that someday, teaching it. And my presentation's on the death penalty. I'm obviously against the death penalty for many reasons, not just the moral reasons, but for this guy right here. This guy is Anthony Ray Hinton. He was wrongly accused of killing two different managers, restaurant managers, and he really did the time for it. He spent 27 years in a prison. He actually had a gun, but was not used as the murder weapon. They later found out that the bullets did not match up to his gun, and it was somebody else. So he actually got out of prison 27 years later. That's a long price to pay for a crime that you didn't commit at all. These are quick facts about death row, about the death penalty. 2,943 currently are on death row, and 1,434 executions since 1976, legal in 32 states in the U.S. There is no correlation whatsoever between states with high homicide rates and rates of death sentencing, which basically means it doesn't deter anybody from it. It doesn't. If a murderer or if someone was thinking about murdering, they wouldn't think twice about the death penalty. Actually, studies show that people think more about life in prison than anything else. Okay, so some believe that capital punishment will cause others considering to think again. However, the Death Penalty Information Center reviews states that 84% of the top criminologists reject the idea of the death penalty, that it is a deterrent at all. So to give you further background on that, there's actually a lot of studies done before saying that it was a deterrent, but there was a lot of faulty schematics and there's a lot of faulty statistics about it. They later found out, and so the facts got straightened up, but it actually showed that it is not a deterrent at all, so which is pretty crazy. These are a few states that actually have the death penalty. The red ones are that definitely have the death penalty. The pinkish ones are the ones with death penalty, but they haven't used it since early 2000s. And then the yellow ones are the death penalty or method declared unconstitutional, but this may be revised. And then the blue ones are without the death penalty. So as you see, Texas is a huge state. They actually killed the most people with the death penalty out of anybody in the whole entire world. Ever since the death penalty became available to them, they've exercised their right. And over here, Delaware, we actually use the death penalty, which is pretty crazy because being the first state, we're supposed to be leaders, and I find that embarrassing, to be honest. But so yeah, these are the states. And death penalty, in regards to cost, it's pretty crazy because we actually spend more to keep people to kill people than we do to keep them in prison. Death penalty costs more than life in prison. $1.26 million per prisoner as opposed to cases. Without the death penalty, which costs around $740,000, California has spent over $4 billion since 1978. So it actually, not only that, but the court cost, the conviction costs, the exonerations, everything, people getting acquitted, even that costs money. Everything costs money in court, and just to feed and put clothes on the prisoner's back is a lot of money. So death penalty overall is more costly than it is to keep them in prison. The death penalty is a permanent punishment. There's no going back, which basically means when you're dead, you're dead. There's no, oops, we killed you. There are people who are wrongly accused of death penalty even today, even with the DNA evidence that we have. So in terms of that, the death penalty is not moral, considering their families don't get the remission that they need. They don't get to ever see their kid again, or they don't get to see their dad again. You can't bring them back. The death penalty is a one-way ticket, and I don't think that's justice at all. More than 156 prisoners have been exonerated and released from death row in the United States. Research study from Columbia University Law found that, by the way, which is very credible, found that 67% of capital trials had flaws that were significant. This guy here, Glenn Ford, he was mowing a lady's lawn because it was his job, and he actually was convicted of killing her, and he spent a total of 30 years in a Louisiana state prison on death row, which, trust me, Louisiana state prisons are a place you do not want to be. In conclusion, the death penalty is a harsh, unmoral, and costly villain. It is the worst. I think our justice system really has to revise their whole entire tactic of going about murderers, and I really hope that someday, maybe not in my day, but actual justice will be accrued. And these are my references.